So it wasn't about the capability of whether I could do it. It was more about how, and I needed to understand the how. Though I realized, to be fair, nobody can tell me the how. And, unfortunately, there's nobody that can tell me the how. The only way I can do it is find out for myself.
Okay, welcome guys to Bigger Than Hustle podcast, where I bring you real conversations with entrepreneurs about life outside business. Each week we deep dive into the energies, the motivations, the disciplines, the habits that these, us entrepreneurs have that makes us successful in life, and that in turn makes us successful in our business. Now, today I'm bringing in an interesting chap. His name is Sudip. I got introduced to him about 6 years ago. Well, he introduced himself to me, and what really sort of struck a chord with me, he came up to me, he didn't know me, at a social event and said, I'm thinking of setting my own business up. Would you help me? Or would you, guide me or mentor me or coach me or whatever it is? And that's the first time someone that actually come up and being so open and honest. So I knew something was different about him. So I thought, why not? So we spent a year, regular meetings, seeing how he goes, and he dipped his toe from corporate into a side hustle, which was it was more to do with commercial property, and then he went full deep in. But I'm not going to go in through all of it, so I'm going to welcome him here. So hello, Sudip, how are you?
Hi guys, very well, thank you. How are you, Babik?
Yeah, well, good, thank you. So if you could just introduce yourself, a short introduction, and give a little bit of insight into you.
Sure. So my name's Sudip Tailor. I started the company AST Commercial 5 years ago now. What I basically do is I'm a commercial property agent, mainly sourcing commercial properties for clients for development or investment purposes.
Perfect. Now, if we go back to the start, so I remember the first conversation we had at a mutual friend's wedding.
Yes.
Obviously your relative, and then it was just a case of I've got an idea and I'm thinking of doing something, and that's all it was at that stage, right? And you said, would you mind sort of, helping me or helping me tread down this path? Now, can you remember the motivations from your life before this to why you were thinking about this, and what made you sort of move in this direction?
Yeah, I guess I got a passion for properties at a very young age. If I'm honest, I actually started in Australia, where I just went for a wedding and looking around. I just loved looking at properties and developments that were happening. I think I fell in love with properties at that moment in time. Changed my degree, etc., around, and did my real estate degree, which was all great and good fun. However, when I came out, it was the recession time. So, jobs in property were quite scarce at that point, and I was already working retail banking, and to have a full-time job at that time, to be fair, was great. So I just went into retail banking and sort of fell into it. The reason I came out, if I'm honest with you, was probably because I saw potential, but I felt potential in myself for what I could do and go on to achieve. And I felt the corporate world was not holding me back as such, but more than anything, giving me a bit of a limitation to where I could go on to. And I didn't like the thought of a limitation, like the thought of unlimited, whether it be life as such, whether it be earnings, whether it be, time, flexibility. That wasn't quite how it worked in the corporate world. So I started with an idea and picked a person to have a chat with that I thought would be able to help me the most, and prodded you at the wedding, I guess.
Perfect. So from that point, initially, obviously, there was a short time where first it was an idea, then it was just a thought, then it was sort of putting little small micro actions behind it to see if this is where you wanted to tread. Obviously, safety and security being the first in mind, thinking, let me look into this. So just remind us how long it took you from actually being in your banking role to deep diving, 2 feet in full time into this role, and then all the things that you learned about being an entrepreneur, which you didn't know and no one told you about before you started.
Absolutely. So I quite remember this quite vividly, because I remember we first sat down. Our first meeting was the 1st of June 2014. I remember we sat at the Grange, sitting next to the fire, just a conversation, and it was purely about you asking me what I wanted to do, why. And I remember you saying to me quite an important question at the time, which I didn't realize, was, when did you want to give up your job? And at that point, I felt panic in my head. Give up my job? That's not a thing. Who does that? But at that moment in time, I threw out there and said, well, I don't know, this time next year maybe. And it was exactly 1st of June 2015 where I woke up and I had already handed my notice in, my first day at home, starting a business, on my own. Here we go, exact 12 months later. Strange, but worked out quite well.
And I guess no one explained to you the structure of an entrepreneur, which is you build your own structure, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the amount of planning I did, the business plans I put together, sometimes I got it read by people, and the actual reality of it was, it's not going to work. Literally scrapped the business plan, didn't work, and I had to just run with what I thought and what went at the time. To be completely honest, so there was a lot of I thought great background planning. No, doesn't work. Put yourself straight into it. And I think that's when I realized, hold on, wait, this is not going to work, and then tweak as you go.
And I think the analogy that springs to mind is get to the edge of the building, jump off, and then build the wings down, right?
Yeah, pretty.
You can think and think and think, and mostly that thinking will maybe push you back into not doing it. I think as soon as you jump in, and then you realize, I have the ability to adapt to this. I have the skills and knowledge, probably not at the time, but I can work this out. I feel I have enough in me that I can work the shit out, whatever it is, and I'm sure you'd agree initially, over the first 6 months to a year, it's not fucking easy, man.
No, not at all, not at all. I think, to be fair, I was quite grateful because at that moment in time, I think I learned some key skills which I didn't realize I'd learned from working in retail banking. That ability to be able to sort of take a no and it's okay, keep moving, and things, just picking up the phone and giving people calls without being too scared of what they may say or how it's going to go. These skills I still carry today. That's what's helped me, I guess, progress. Because if I didn't put myself in a situation, and don't get me wrong, it was scary. It was very scary. It was very the unknown, I guess, if anything. And it was very scary at the time. But to put yourself in positions and have conversations with people, I think, if anything, helped me sort of, I guess, build where I was going and the path I was going to take. Because at that moment in time, it was purely just I'm not too sure. I know what I can do and what I'm able to do, but which route I'm going to take, I've got no idea. And
I think if we be real about it, when you first, the first day, if you remember the first day of being an entrepreneur, that where you're sitting and you're like, I don't have emails I need to respond to. I don't have a structure, as in I get up, I go to work, I do this, right? And then a lot of the time that's the discipline. That's where the discipline comes in, because then you're seeing things around you. Maybe I don't know what to do, so I might just read or watch some TV or listen to some music or do something out that will distract you out of maybe focusing. And then you catch yourself, and you're like, actually, no, I'm not meant to be doing this. I'm meant to be doing this. And you get back in, and then you fall out again. You get back in, and you fall out again. And I think that's where you as a person, comes out, where you're like, at that point, a lot of people can sink and say, actually, you know what, this ain't for me. It's too hot. But that's the point where you fix yourself. You have those conversations with you, and I'm sure that voice in your head was saying, "You listen, bro, fix up, man. We need to do this."
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember, my office was my bedroom. So literally, as you can imagine, you're going from your bed to your desk, and literally it was right next to you, and off you go. And you're working with a laptop and trying to create something that's so great. And it was strange because I've gone from retail banking, which is like 500, 600 people you're seeing per day, to now all of a sudden seeing nobody but your laptop and trying to create something. And that for me was honestly a big culture shock. It was difficult for me to get my head around. However, there was definitely times where I'd procrastinate. I'd find reasons to not be there. Some points worked out quite well because my grandma at the time was extremely close to. She was going through cancer and on her last stages, but what it gave me was a time to be able to spend time with her, I guess, for that meantime. Therefore I never regret when I left and how it worked out. Happier times I had my nephew, and that was my first nephew that was born as well, so I got to spend a lot of time with him, which is great. But that voice in the back of your head always telling you, hold on, you should not be doing this. You need to be in work mode. You need to be creating that space. You need to be building on what you've already sort of put together, sort of thing, rather than just spending time with people that you love or being around because it's fun.
And you can sort of correct me if I'm wrong, but from the conversations I remember, which we had, your environment wasn't set up really for you to get to have belief that you could do this. So what I mean by this is you didn't have many people around you that had done this already. You didn't have a friend circle that had been on this path so much. You didn't have, much in terms of this. I can see all these things around me. They're close to me, so it's possible for me. So what do you think gave you the belief that actually, do you know what? I think I can do this.
I think I've always had the hunger from a very young age. Always had the hunger to show that I can do better, or I can do more, or I can do different. There was battles, I say battles because various battles with various, honestly, family, mainly, to be honest with you, where I'd, go down the route of, I'm going to start this, and I'd get a lot of, negative energy, a lot of, no, shoulda, no, you're in a good job, you've got a good career going for you, good thing going for you. And a lot of self-battling as well as to whether it's the right thing for me to do. But at the same time, I guess I'm the kind of person, I want to set my mind something, I'm going to do it. And I think it was just trying to find the right person, because as you mentioned, there wasn't a lot of people around me that had done it already. So it wasn't about the capability of whether I could do it, it was more about how, and I needed to understand the how. Though I realized, to be fair, nobody can tell me the how. Unfortunately, there's nobody that can tell me the how. The only way I can do it is find out for myself. However, what I did get was people like yourself, Baz, giving me words, if anything, to sort of say, no, you've got the capabilities, don't be afraid, push yourself. And that, to be fair, I guess, and to be fair, support of family as well, especially in that first year, support of family, or in the sense of, not looking down on me or feeling as if I'm ashamed, to be doing what I'm doing. That did help me, to be fair, to continue and pursue what I was doing to get me here. And yeah, worked out well.
And I think, from everything I hear from the words you say, the having that situation or being in that environment where, it's not that people don't have your back, but they don't openly say, just go for it. There's always a hesitation to say, do you know what, are you doing the right thing? You've been in commercial banking 10 years. You've been steady, you've done well, you earn money, and especially within the Asian culture, seems to be a big thing, where security and safety. And I think that's the thinking of the previous generation, but they didn't know any different. They came to this country, they had to graft, and there was no safety blanket like we have. We have a safety blanket. They didn't have a safety blanket, right? So their graft and their hard work and their effort and their thinking got to them to where they did, which that's the foundation of my life. But for me to step up and then build upon that, it's saying, you know what, now we have so many more choices, and them leading their life their way gave us the choices that we now have. And I almost felt that if I didn't make choices that were not just good for me, but good for the people around me, but it made me the person I was, then I was almost letting myself down, because I'm not using that energy that they put into me to say, actually, you know what, anything is possible. You can actually go out and do it, especially being in this country. We have so many more choices. We are assimilating to a new culture. We're the first generation here, right? So they came across, we now build on that, and then my kids will then build on that further. One thing I've always said is I don't want to take my kids into my place of work, because I don't want them to ever feel that that's what they need to do or that's what they do. I want them to have the input and mindset that whatever I am or whatever the universe needs me to be, this is what I want to be, no matter what. And like I said, the world needs to see more people cutting grass with passion, not more doctors. People that work on their cars with passion, not more dentists. Do you know what I mean? And that's, and that's how this beautiful symbiotic system of the universe is made. That's how I see things strongly. And that's why when people come to me and say, I've got an idea and this is what I want to do, I am 100% behind it. As long as they understand their motivations and whys, and it's something that's within them and it has to come out in the world, I'm behind them 100%. That's what I saw in you. And that's why I thought, let me give them a try. Let me see what it's about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. To be fair, I've been thinking about this quite a lot, and very recently, I think I've only just recently understood as to, like you said, the previous generation and their mentality. I mean, my dad, can't work anymore, and I've had various conversations in the last few years. So, what do you enjoy doing? To kill time, to do something with yourself, so you're not getting so bored. So, what were your passions? He goes, just to work. So, what did you do before for sports? Did you play anything? No, just worked. So I realised actually the generation prior to us literally came to this country to make something better of themselves, to then provide for our family because of the hardship they've seen from where they come from. And they've done a great job, as you mentioned. However, I feel as if the foundation was pretty much set, and that was I think for them, very much, that's it, it's done. All right, great, we've come here, got a roof over your head, you got a good education, go get a good job, earn a good salary, settle down, buy a house, have children, and off you go. And that's how life should go.
Yeah.
And I guess for someone like myself, coming out of that wasn't, like I said, the easiest step initially. But at the same time, I understand why they think the way that they do because of the experience they've had. And I guess for us, it's only right for us, I mean, our generation, especially, right for us to then think, as you said, better or do more to it. I don't believe in following this. I mean, look, the way I see it is also, there's no point in doing, it's only personal opinion, no point in doing the same thing that our parents have done and just continuing. Why they've done so well and done so great for us to speak about it like today. And I'm sure we'll parents talk about it going forward. Why not do the same thing and try to achieve better, try to do more for generation below us, our children maybe, and so forth. And that's why I wanted to try something different. That was a big motivator for me. I'm not ready to settle in just a good education, a good job, and settle down and you're good to go.
And I think, again, you'd probably agree with me, there's a process of unlearning we need to go through. So we've been raised with certain mindsets, certain thought processes. Our parents probably said similar things to us, as we're growing up. And they're great little cornerstones, about money, about working hard, about, those things that has served them and got them to where they have, which is huge, to move from a country into another country where they're not really wanted. They face racism on a daily basis, and it's a struggle. And a lot of the time, if my dad used to say for a few years, he wondered why he ever came because it was so hard. But he knew the bigger picture was that if he stayed where he was, he's never going to grow. He's never going to become more than he did, what he eventually became. Yeah. So that, that head down, deal with it, and just move on. Do you know what I mean? And just continue, and eventually something will come out, right? And now I feel that there's so much unlearning that I need to do, not in certain cornerstones, but in things like parenting, for example. Our parents didn't really talk about, sex. They didn't talk about sexuality. They didn't talk about, relationships as such. It was a case of, well, mom and dad are here together. And almost, I've always said this, I don't know how my mom and dad are married, to be fair. They're just like completely right? So I think we've seen that, and we're trying to unlearn that to say, actually, you know what? It's about having someone by your side that is, 100% there. There has to be a love, there has to be a respect, there has to be a bond, and you're in it together. There's no, there's in cultures before, the man seemed to have a little bit more stature and the women sort of stayed behind as such, even though they were doing probably more, a greater role in terms of raising the next generation, the man was seeing. But now I think that's changed, because I think it has to, because it's not like that anymore.
No, I agree. I mean, as you know, to be fair, I was with my now wife at the time, like Nami at the time, when I was at Nationwide, and also when I obviously left. And honestly, absolutely pivotal, because it's important to find someone that believes in you, and to have that person by your side supporting you through the journey is absolutely crucial. Whether it be a friend, whether it be other half, but yeah, Nami's been absolutely amazing. And like you said, to be fair, I mean, I was very much wired to think like the man is a provider, the man, brings everything in, and the woman's okay, it's in the background. Not in the background, what I mean is like financially in the background. It's okay if she works, brings some stuff in as and when. I've learned over time, to be fair, equal rights 100% is one thing. Respect women for what they do and what they're capable of doing, but at the same time, Nami is respectful towards the business and me and what I'm achieving. Financially, she supported me a lot, to be fair, at the beginning when it was a struggle. But she never gave up. She never ever said, to be fair, it's not going to work, press them different. She's never done it, and as you know, with businesses, ups and downs definitely happen, still do happen to this day. And she still to this day supports me, and still to this day says, no, you continue going, you're okay. And I guess that gives me the encouragement to say, no, if she believes me, then I'm capable of doing it. And that's a real massive driver for me. Massive driver.
And do you know, the relationship you have, so it sounds like you've got a strong foundation of a strong relationship that will continue to grow and continue to evolve, because that's what relationship is about. What do you think, what kind of man do you think you've become because of her?
That's a good question. This doesn't sound really, really cheesy, but to be honest, a lot more loving. only because I mean, look, I was always, I guess from a young age, I'd sort of be a man of the house at a very young age in my home, or just took that role on as such. So therefore, I guess I became very driven, you know, very driven, very do a job, do it now, do it right. And I was very just go, go, go. I think Anami, if anything, has taught me to slow down, to enjoy life, to have fun. And we're married, but honestly, it doesn't feel as if, you know, and I hear all these stories and guys saying to me, you know, bloody hell, you know what happens when you get married, don't you? And honestly, still to this day, I'm like, what happens? Because, you know, I don't see, I mean, I've just written a birthday card for her for next week. And literally, I can say on there, you know, that another year's just flown by. You know, we've been together, oh, bloody hell, 7 years this year. And it's flying by because it's not hard work at all. Like, literally, we're good friends. Well, in fact, best friends, and we're married, and it's the best relationship. I think, if anything, one thing I've learned with marriage so far on this journey, without any children, because I'm sure it's a different dynamic, is just to enjoy each other's time. You know, don't be afraid to have a bit of fun, and, you know, don't be afraid to, you know, mess around and have a laugh. And yes, you're going to bicker, but get over it and don't hold grudges. You know, little things like that. You just come to go, do you know what? It's okay. You know, you care about the person, love each other, and you're okay.
And I think in terms of the two key things that jumped out was best friend, and the energy between you, because, you know, like I've mentioned before, beside every successful person is a successful partner, whether that be a wife, whether that be a husband, whatever. And we can't do this on our own. You know, there's so much balance that's brought between the feminine and the masculine, and the ways we believe that we understand ourselves, and then someone comes in and gives you a different point of view. It's only when you have a respect for that voice will you take that in and say, actually, you know what, you are talking a little bit of sense there. Sometimes you don't say it openly because there's that little bit of you know, but it does go in. And I think for like, you know, like you said, you've known your now wife for 7 years. I've known, well, we were friends and then we got married for 20 years, you know. And it's only, even now, we're still growing, and it's only now that we've found a center space where there's a huge amount of energy which is there, the synergy between us, and especially being parents, again, which is a different dynamic completely. You think you know your partner, bring kids into it. Do you know what I mean? It's a real, you know, it can make or break you, and I will be honest with that. But we get through that, and we say it's worth it. We're gonna struggle, and we're gonna fight, and we're gonna deal with this, and it's worth it, because when you come out the other side, like my daughter is now 14, my son is gonna be 10, and it's so nice now in terms of the relationship between us. All of us, we all have our own quirks, we all have our own ways, but we give each other space to be who we are. We give each other space to say, you know, I'm not perfect, but be imperfect with me, and these are the bits that are imperfect about me, and this is who's imperfect with them. And when you join that all together and you realize that everyone is on their own struggle, everyone's in their own battle, all we're here is to support, help, and, you know, give a real point of view, because only she can probably say certain things to you and you'll listen. But other people saying, you'll be like, the ego will step up and say, actually, you know what? Yeah, hold on, bro.
The chimp's about to go mad.
So, you know, like, obviously that's been, so your wedding was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah. So I remember, so that's obviously it's still quite new for you, right? And like you said, there's still so much to go. There's still a long journey ahead, right? So anyone that's in a relationship right now, whether that be sort of girlfriend, boyfriend, whether that's sort of longer term partner, living, or whatever it is, and they decide they want to tread the steps of marriage, what conversations do you think they should be having before they decide?
So, do you know what? I'll be honest, there's those conversations that me and Nami had whilst I started the business, during the sort of time phase I was building the business up. And there's a few points that I made quite clear with Nami. And she made it me and myself as well, you know, because I think, for anything, expectations need to be understood from both ends. If they're not on the same line, the same page, then it's difficult to actually sort of, I guess, mold and conversations, etc., carry on. So I think the first thing that I said to her was that our family is going to be me and her. And what I mean by that is that, yes, we still love our parents, We love, the energy around and what they're about. However, priority for me is my wife and children that we may have, only because that's what we're building towards. So it's easy for us to listen to the voices of what our parents might say, and my parents might say, and hers, and cousins, etc., or siblings. But when it came down to it, it needs to be mine and her voice. And I think that's what started off by building foundation. To be honest, that was absolutely the foundation. It still is to this day. It's the foundation of us. When we hear things from both sides, it's very much like, what do we want? And I think that's what was the first thing. Second thing was believe in each other. Believe in what we're doing and have a vision which you are both aligned to. I'm a big vision believer, from visual boards to sharing visions on a daily basis with Nami, from looking at certain things. It sounds really silly, but these are things that I use to keep me focused. And she uses as well, to be fair, so for where she wants to go and the drivers that she may have. So we definitely shared visions and where we're going and how we're going to do things and moving forward. And then I think that put us on the same page, if anything. And that's probably the third thing, to be fair. If there's any concerns or anything that's worrying any of us, don't hold it in. Have a conversation. Just know that I think the important thing was that we both knew that every time we had a different conversation, it wasn't going to be the be-all, end-all. It wasn't, oh my God, it's so tough, we can't carry on. It was this is tough, we're going to work through this. And we both just understood that, at the same time, it was very much had the conversation early on so it doesn't build up too much. So yeah, I think the main things would be, get your priorities right between the two of you, understand what you both want, visualize, understand what your journeys are going to be and where you're going, make sure you're on the same page with that there. And then, third thing, just being the fact, be open as much as you can with each other.
Cool.
I think it's really, really important that's the case.
We've just talked about sort of love in a relationship. What does self-love mean to you?
If I'm honest, I'm still figuring that out. Only because, there's changes that I go through on a daily basis, and there's things that I learn, things that I face as challenges, a lot of it in my own head. But for me, I guess is knowing that I am able to, I guess, provide the happiness, not even financial, to be honest with you, just the happiness to the people around me. Core values such as, being there to love each other, to care for my family as well, not just my family, but extended family as well. Keeping all plates spinning, I think that for me is important, and not doing too much of everything. I mean, I had a conversation with another friend of mine that quite well as well, as Chet, and we spoke about, balancing certain areas and whether you're going too much into one end. And I'd get myself extremely frustrated when I'm doing too much of one, whether it be, seeing friends too much or spending too much time with family or just being me and Nami, and I realized that it's because they're not aligned, not in balance. So I think for me, it's important that I have that space or that plate sort of spinning all around, and that all sort of points are hit as much as I can. This has been during this time, it's a pandemic, but it's been a really great time for me to be able to do that, because it's meant that I can communicate with friends that I haven't spoken to for a while. Spend that me and Nami can spend quality time together rather than having weekends that are packed with parties, jamanus, etc. as you would. But also then focus on myself. So then a lot of things that I was missing, to be honest with you, was I know what I wanted to achieve physically, and I knew how to get there, but I weren't giving myself enough time to get there. And what this has allowed, if anything, is giving me time to achieve my certain sort of goals that I wanted to set, run. I never ran in my life. Start running, and I started running, lose certain weight, give myself goals and challenges. And I'm doing that, and it's really helping, really, really helping.
And I think it's interesting with this situation we're in now. And so many of the entrepreneurs that are close friends of mine, people I talk to, it's the mindset that I love about entrepreneurs is that we see a benefit in everything, irrespective of the situation. Do you know what I mean? And like you said, it's now giving you the space to actually concentrate on yourself, because I believe that when you're strong within yourself, you're better for all the people around you. So you're shining your light for them to shine their light. Do you know what I mean? Whoever they is around them. And that mindset of resourcefulness, we have to just work shit out, and we do. And And we understand that investment in ourselves is investment in everyone around us. So it's, it's the analogy of keep giving yourself oxygen, because if you continue to breathe, the people around you can continue to breathe, and you can invest in them as well as yourself. So I think it's really important that you continue on doing that. You continue trying to make yourself physically and mentally strong, as well as listening to good stuff and involving yourself in conversations which are going to serve you. Because again, we as males, we have this thing about not being able to conversate on a deeper level than just talk about football or talk about whatever it is, right? And if you talk to like your wife, for example, I'm sure she has conversations with her friends or her relatives all the time, and they deep dive all the time, about their feelings, their emotions, about things. And I can't remember the last time I even talked to someone about that. Do you know what I mean? Now, so, now it's completely different. I try and do those conversations, but still I can revert back into just being, a male and just, believing everything is all right. But I think these kind of conversations we're having today, and being, that honesty and openness, which we can become more vulnerable, because I think in vulnerability there's beauty, and in that beauty is where you see us as people. And the veneer, it doesn't have to be that whole strong caveman anymore. I think it needs to be, you be real with me, I be real with you, and we can help each other. And that's where the masculine, I think, can, improve, evolve. And I think by the internet, by certain things that are happening around us, it's only if we open our mouths and have these conversations and put ourselves on the line that we can bring real sort of joy and benefit to everyone around us.
Funny you say that, actually, because I remember one of the first deep conversations I had with the Nami. I'll be honest, it wasn't really until after we got married. I remember on our honeymoon, we both had a fair bit to drink, and as you can imagine, as soon as that happens, and we had a real deep conversation whilst we were out at a bar. I think in the middle of Bali, I think we were at the time, and I think it was Malaysia at the time, and it was hilarious because next day she's woken up and we've gone, did we talk about last night? Oh crap! But actually, it sets a great tone, because I think if anything, it gave me confidence. I can say whatever I want, nothing bad to her, but I could get my feelings out, and the way she responded to it was just amazing. It was purely supportive, and the fears that as men we have, of feeling ashamed or not being good enough, and all these sort of things that we think may be the case, or the other half might feel, it just wasn't the case. And that all it took was that one conversation and a few drinks, obviously, as well, that night. And it definitely changed the way we work. So since the pandemic, we've been having Friday date nights, and every Friday's date night, and we have a couple of drinks, not too many, just a couple of drinks, and we just talk. And literally we talk, and we have a bit of music in the background, and we get deep, and that's great, because it's not as if we're sitting there either sort of saying, oh, let's get deep. It's not a conversation about trying to get deep. It just, conversation flows. As we are today, conversation just flows. And that's, I think, what keeps us strong and keeps us grounded and keeps us sort of together.
And I think those real conversations, again, with, she's probably the closest person to you because of the amount of time you spend with each other. And obviously time is not the best indicator, but when you can be real with someone in your life, and when you can actually feel that I can be as vulnerable as I sense I need to be, and I will get either a support, a shoulder to lean on, or a voice that tells me fix up. Do you know what I mean? And you need both sides. It's not just a case of putting your arm around someone, because sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes you need someone, listen, just, bro, you have more than this in you.
Yeah.
Just, I've seen it already, and now you're letting yourself down, so you need to move. So it's like a coach. And the other time you need a maternal voice where it's like, I get it. Listen, let's just not talk. Let's just hug and just let it be,
100%. I mean, Anami's great at that, to be fair. She's quite emotionally intelligent, which helps. So she'll know when it's time to say, what are you talking about? Well, why have you not done this? And I go, oh crap, I should have done that. Yeah, that's a good point. And it's only because you become complacent, I guess, as well, when you're doing what you're doing. And there's times where you don't think outside the box all the time, because you're just stuck in it sometimes. It's your business, you just get stuck into just doing it and what you've known. And sometimes the outside perspective is great. And that's where I think talking really helps. Just even like work, we'll get together every night and we'll just say, this is what our day's gone, this is what's happened. Even if it's nothing to say, just it's been an all right day. But if you're just having these little conversations, I think she's definitely very good at just, saying to me, "Wait on that." And to be fair, it's not just a nanny. I talk to my friends as well, to be fair, and I sort of go, "Well, this has happened. I'm not sure what to do." It doesn't necessarily mean that they know the best thing to say, or they give me the best advice, but just to be able to talk it out usually gives me ideas to go, "Oh, actually, while I'm talking, I've just given myself a solution." And you think, "Oh, that was it. That's all I had to do," And I think that really helps as well.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to my son about this, and we were talking about the voice in your head, right? And the voice in your head will always support everything, and it's almost like telling you everything is exactly. It makes logical sense when you say it to yourself without saying it out loud. But as soon as you say it out loud, you're like, that doesn't actually make sense. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you've been through that. I've opened, in my voice, there's been voice. I'm trying to change the voice in my head to be more supportive. Because if anyone talked to me like the voice talked to me, they won't be in my life. But that. The amount of times it calls me an idiot is unbelievable during the day, right? So I'm trying to turn that around, and I think that's helped me a lot in my running, where just when I feel that, don't worry, bro, you just walk now, don't worry. And then it automatically switches to say, no, you've done this before, you need to carry on. Do you know what I mean? And that, I think, is a muscle, and it needs to be trained. So I've learned that by just speaking out loud sometimes and saying your fears out loud, you realize, first of all, the power of the fear is when it's in your head, when it's just, because it's only come from the energy that you've created, nothing else. And therefore, once you say out loud, I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you have a fear, so say you have a fear of, there's this event coming up, there's lots of people going to be there, and I need to talk, and I'm not sure, I don't feel very confident myself, I don't think I've got anything to share, and my self-worth is really low. Okay, so that's a voice going around in your head. Now, if you actually said that out loud and said, actually, do you know what? I don't think I'll be okay, and I think I'm going to struggle, and I think I'm going to do this, and then speak against it with the voice that you have. So it's like, why do you think you're struggle? You've been in this game for 20 years. So you're really going to struggle. And you're talking about self-worth. What do you mean? You come from parents, you come from strength, you've got all this around you. So by just speaking out loud and actually having conversations with yourself out loud, it can really, suppress those fears.
I haven't done that yet, to be fair. I might give that
Try it. Next time, do you know what? Next time a fear comes up, which is, it's not rational, because it's not rational, but it still drives in your head, say out loud and then speak openly against yourself. And you'll see that fear actually loses its power and it loses its voice, and then it actually doesn't sit in your head anymore. So that's I've learned that. And sometimes you have to do it on your own, because someone else listening into this, they might think you're a bit crazy. But yeah.
I recently, to be fair, I'm talking very recently, I had a fear, to call a client about a particular thing I'm dealing with right now, only because I don't know how they're going to respond. Until I was put on the spot and they called me and I had to answer the call. All of a sudden I had that conversation, I put it down, I was like, that wasn't so scary. Why did I feel this fear of my own head? And I think, like I said, sometimes I tend to not trying to conjure up too much negativeness or even too much fear. I try to sort of go, it's all right, don't worry, take it as it comes. I do a lot of talking to myself in my head to say, it's okay.
Have you heard of the book called Eat That Frog?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay. This really interesting concept, really simple. Okay. So that thing that you're fearing of doing. So sometimes, like you said, sending an email or ringing, generally it's sort of ringing someone or having a really hard conversation with someone. Okay. And but it has to be done. And then what you do is you sidetrack with yourself with loads of other things. And then thinking that it'll actually get easier, but it doesn't, because it just gets worse and worse, right? Okay. So think of that thing as a frog. Okay. So that frog is in your hand. And you look at it and someone says, you're going to have to eat that. Okay. You have no option. You just have to eat it. Okay. So you look at it and you think, that's disgusting. And then you're sort of staring at this frog, and what's happening is that it starts building this thing in your head. Like, how am I going to eat that? It might move. It might do this. It might do this. But you're like there and you're like, and the guy says, you're not moving until you eat it. You have no option. You can't move until you've eaten it. So then you're like, okay, fine. And then you sort of like lick it a little bit, and then you're like whatever, and then the whole story in what's coming that is sort of building up more and more and more, and then you put it in and you chew it up and you eat and it's done, right? And the guy said, when I told you, why didn't you just take it, put in your mouth, chew it up and down? Because you know you had to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Very
And
true.
when that struck me, I was like, then when I have to now, make a call and then and I think, oh, I'm putting this off, I think eat that frog and
Do
just
it now.
do it. And
Yeah.
as soon as you know what I mean, and it really does bloody work, because then you stop the voice in your head. It's like, let me see, and it's like, it's funny because even some of the kids, I say, eat that frog. They're like, okay.
Oh, really?
yeah, even they get it. You know what I mean?
Love me.
So moving on, what do you think inspires you most today?
What inspires me?
It can be a thing, it can be something you watch, it can be something you listen to, it can be just the way you think or just who you've become.
I think, again, so I'm very much visionary, right? So there's certain things that I've envisaged where we're going to go. Not to say now, because I know time is not a thing. It's not a thing we have to do it now. When I used to get that. I used to very much have to do this by now, and this by now, and get to here by now. And now I'm like, it'll happen. I know it'll happen just when it happens. But yeah, what inspires me, if anything, and drives me to be fair, is still achieving the little goals to move forward. From monetary value to reputation to self growth to physical attributes to my relationship, to where we're going to go moving forward. It just there's lots that inspire me, to be honest, Bobby. And I need they're the things that get me out of bed in the morning. To be completely honest, it's very easy being an entrepreneur because you're on your own and not getting anywhere. And I hear a lot of failures in entrepreneurship. Not say failures. What I mean is that business is failing, and I can understand why it happens. Not because the strategy was wrong or all this sort of stuff. I can understand why it happens because it can become very lonely on your own and need something to get out of bed and a motivation for you and a driver for you to move forward. And I can imagine when you got financial constraints, etc. That's probably the biggest thing. You got to get out of bed to earn money to put food on the table for your children, or that sort of thing. I can't imagine what it's like to have got children, but I can see how that can be a big factor. For myself, it's not a thing, and it wasn't a thing. I literally lived with my parents at the time. I didn't have any big bills to pay. I had to find something to motivate me. And the little things, I guess, I envisaged of where we're going in the journey are still to this day the reason as to why I still get out of bed in the morning to try and create something.
And an interesting thing I remember you telling me, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, before you were getting married, you had, because you'd set out on this path and financially things were up and down, just like any entrepreneur. I remember for 3-4 years of my married life, Versha supported me, which I mean a lot of the time, because she knew I was investing so much into my business that things aren't going to be the same, and she had a corporate job, so hers was regular. And I remember you saying to me, like, we've put a deposit down on our wedding or a reception or whatever it is, and I still haven't got a clue how this money is going to come up. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just going to work it out and deal with it as it happens, And it's a real fear, because I get that. It is a real fear. But then you realize that actually, I'm not putting faith or trust in myself that I know I'll work out a way. Sometimes you just need to be chucked in, and you just have to learn how to swim. Because, us as entrepreneurs, I think we will work out a way. And when the decision is made and it's done, let's work this shit out now. And that's why I love being around entrepreneurs, because we just have a way of just saying, you know what, I don't know, but I'll work it out.
Yeah, you find a way.
That's
the case, and that's I love. And too fast, and I'm saying that to me all the time. I don't know how we do this, but we all seem to figure a way out. We do actually. And yeah, I remember being at your house, talking about the wedding time, like, I'll become a little bit, and you were like, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. Don't worry, you'll be fine. I'm like, how am I gonna be fine? And then I thought, you know what, get on with it. No one's gonna support. And I remember in time, like you said, it's not a sink or swim situation, but it's sort of like you put yourself in this, you are gonna get out of this. Not a can I can't, now what? Is you are gonna get out of this, and you're gonna find a way. And actually, to be fair, I look back at that, it wasn't that big a deal. And actually, I'll be completely honest, I was sitting in my reception, and as I walked in, and I remember sitting at the top, and I remember that conversation I had with you then. I think you came to me actually.
Yeah.
Conversation with me. And I remember that moment then, and I was like, I don't know how I've just pulled this out of the bag, but I have, and it's great, and yeah, there's scary times. There are scary times sometimes, but they're only scary because you create their own fear in your head, rather than it being don't worry, you'll be fine, you work it out. And
So,
that's practice. That's definitely practice.
like probably most things in life, and a little thing you said, in terms of practice, in terms of small habits and disciplines, so small steps to keep you moving forward.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people fall down, in terms of, okay, so I want to learn to do this, but after a few days or after a few months, the energy wears off. And it's that mindset which says, actually, do you know what, I'm going to continue. I actually don't know where this is going. I'm not even sure if I'm going in the right direction, but I'm going to just carry on, and eventually something will happen, right? And I think it's that discipline and those habits which make us different, because we know we just have to continue, and maybe some information might come to light that says, actually, do you know what, we might slightly sort of pivot or slightly switch directions, which will make more sense.
Yeah.
But we still keep moving, we still keep getting off the couch and going out for a run, because that 1 meter will turn into 100 meters will turn into a kilometer. Kind of next thing you're doing is a marathon, right? But the marathon didn't happen. It took years and years of discipline and focus and mindset. And I think that in life is that's a skill that should be taught, from an early age, because the patience and the discipline and the focus to just carry on, even though everything around you is shouting, this ain't working, bro. This ain't working, bro. You've got faith in yourself to say, you know what? I may not see it, but I know I've got faith that it's going to pull through.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. There's obviously always going to be times, like you said, there's ups and downs throughout any business. There's going to be times where you do extremely well, times where you're not going to do so well. Famous quote that you gave me was, when I did do extremely well on one of my deals, you were like, so how are you preparing for your lows? And I went, what lows? And you were like, but always you're going to get lows. And I've gone, no, I'm on a high now, straight up now. And that didn't work out that way. So yeah, I think there's always going to be highs and lows, and giving yourself the ability to move forward, which isn't always the easiest thing, to be fair, Barrick. It can be tough for some people, and I think that's very circumstantial. From example, myself, I'm just I can only talk about myself, to be fair, because I don't know anyone else's circumstances, but from when I first started the business, being in my parents' house, not really having any bills to pay, my bedroom, I was working, costs are low, overheads are low, just about, doing things myself is fine. Between that time, got engaged, traveled, got married, got a place, and still looking to move on and do more, to be fair, still looking at another place and, get bigger and better. And there's always going to be things that are going to come up. And as circumstances change, I find that entrepreneurs, we have to change expectations as well. I think if we don't change expectations, then you'll be stuck in a place where things are not going to fit, because you want to be here doing this. And that could be downsizing. It could be you slowing down. I'm sure you went through something.
Yeah.
Where you said, I need to slow down. I want to slow down. But if your business is still churning, then you're not going to slow down. And I think, like I said, adapt to circumstances is really, really important. I think that's one thing I've understood. Not fully, but I definitely am understanding, shall I say. I'm still learning as I go along.
And I think, one thing that comes straight up from the few words is it's the person you become, right? It's not what you learn, it's not how you are, it's the person you become every day, and that those disciplines, those journeys, the things, all the decisions you've made as you grow, it's the person you're becoming. And it's always the person you're becoming. And I think we never are going to become a complete person, because then there's no point to life. We're never going to, if we're not growing or shrinking or whatever there needs to be, energy is continually moving, right? Energy doesn't stop, just like we don't, and just like life doesn't. And then we just have, like you said, we just need to adapt ourselves and say, actually, now we're in this situation, what do we do? Work this out. And a lot of the time it's how we become people, through the learning of life, through falling down to standing up, to falling down again, standing up. And that's what gives us the strength, I think, not just to continue, but to give us perspective, to say, actually, you know what, the shit times they're not going to continue.
Yeah.
Just like the good times are not going to continue. We need to understand both sides and say, actually, let's not sit head in all the time, right in it, right emotionally in it. Always sit back a bit and say, it's good right now. but let's see what happens when it's not good. And when it's not good, say, actually, you know what, this rain is going to stop at some point and there will be sun. And let me just prepare now for the sun, you know? So understanding you a little bit more, what skills do you think you still need to gain, grow, or master to become the version of the self you'd like to be?
Huge. I mean, there's still lots to be further in to grow. I think a big thing for me is reputation. The only way I feel like I can build my reputation is by delivering the right level of service. A lot of what I do is very much word of mouth. And I think for me to, I guess, build a legacy that I guess I'm trying to create, and learn from and, adapt to, I think I've got to be doing a lot more of this, on that's this side of things, the work side of things. The family side of things, continue being supportive as my journey continues and continue being myself as much as I can do and not, forgetting things in the background, ensuring that I'm more attentive to my other half, I'm giving more than I was previously rather than just being who I always have been. I think, like I said, that growth thing has always been a thing where it's continuous. But there's so much more. I mean, to be honest with you, one big thing right now, and because Anami points me out on it, is my speech.
Okay.
Because she finds that, and I understand where she's coming from now. I never understood it before, but I understand it now. And I mean, no offense to anybody at all. What I mean by this is because a lot of people that I communicate with are London-based. And she's got a very good point. When I communicate with people from London, should I say, they find that my speech isn't quite correct, and therefore they don't respond to me as right. And I always question why they're not responding as well. And some absolutely fine. Those like East London, etc., they're fine because they've got a bit of a twang themselves. But with myself, they just don't really respond to me sometimes so well. And I'm just going, do you realise why? Why? It's just because you've kind of got a Leicester accent. Have I? And why should that affect anyone? That's where I'm brought up and got defensive a little bit. And I've gone, oh no, do you know what? I've just realised, because people still are people and they want to see mutual ground built. And it sounds very strange, but if you can't see someone and you talk to someone over the phone, then for me, a big thing is build mutual ground straight away. And you've got 7 seconds over the phone to create that first impression. If my speech is not correct, then I'm not on that same page as the person I'm speaking to.
And I understand, because I've met your wife, and she is very well spoken. I noticed that really from the start. So, but I think, moving that forward for you, that's where your own, like I said, your reputation, your own investment in yourself over time. Because once you have a reputation and you have an investment in yourself, that comes across, and then it doesn't really matter at all what you sound like, what you say, because there's so much more within you. There's so much knowledge in you, and there's so many skills that you have that people will be attracted to you. So it's always keeping your head down and say, you know what, I get that, because sometimes you need to get through doors. But once you're through doors and you've built the relationship, people see your honesty and people see your heart and they see you as a person. And I think that's, I've always said people buy into people, and as long as you get yourself, you don't just switch out for everyone. But as an entrepreneur, we need to be chameleons sometimes. We need to understand when we need to talk and when we don't need to, when someone wants it to be technical and when someone wants it to be basic, and we need to do that within 2 or 3 seconds of meeting someone, and it's that ability to adapt which would first get you through the door, but then it's your ability to be your word. Say what you're going to say, do what you're going to say, do it when you say you can do, and if there's an issue, sort it out. Those 3 things have served me all my life. Do you know what I mean? And now I feel a lot more comfortable to give that information out, because I know the basis of most people that have done okay, especially in the small business world, the ones that are still here, 4 years on plus, are the ones that do exactly that. They say what they're going to say. They do what they're going to say. They do when they're going to say it. So they've got the integrity. And if there's an issue, they don't hang their phone up. They come and sort it out. Absolutely. And that gives you then the belief that this actually person is a good person. And that's how the relationships stay, But It's something that took me a while to learn. But and again, you'll be seeing this. You're interacting with people within your industry a lot more now, and you probably see that in other people that are just starting out as well. So that's where the perspective comes from.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, there's a lot of people in my industry. It's not always the case. For me personally, it's more, like I said, for me, it's more principle. You know, if I said I want to do something, going back to, you know, from what I learned from Nationwide, honest, you know, if you're gonna do it, then do it properly. One, and two, try to under promise, over deliver. So if you give a time frame, be realistic with yourself and with the person you're dealing with, and deliver within that time frame if you can, because that's you. That's a person. That's showing who you are. You know, if you're not good for your word, then what are you good for? And I think that sticks to me. I still say that quite a lot, to be fair. To various people, if you're not good for your word, then what are you good for? And it resonates with who I am.
And I think also, do you know, if then it's not possible, so something comes up and it actually is not going to happen in what you said, be upfront and honest about it. Say, actually, we agree this, but because of these circumstances, this isn't going to happen. But
managing expectations, isn't it?
100%.
On either end, unless things are going to change, there's variables that come in that means that you can't set the time frame, but at the same time, it means that having that conversation prior to that time frame coming, have that conversation with, you know, whoever it is to have the conversation with, to say, let's change this, let's move it a little bit forward, because now all of a sudden X has come in. But yeah, I think definitely managing expectations is really, really important.
And is there sort of like behind closed doors, you know, this is in the dark, you know, is there anything that you're proud of in yourself that not many people know about?
So as the biggest, I'll tell you what, as you said earlier, you know, there's not many people in my family that do or have done what I've done. Not any of my friends have done what I've done as such. The ability to be able to continue doing what I'm doing, I think, is probably the proudest thing in myself. Only because it's still the unknown. You know, it's still the thing where people are now starting business, etc., or thinking about it still, and that sort of thing, which is great for them. You know, I'm here to support, and I'm trying to pass on knowledge as I can. But for me, it's a mental battle that I've had in myself over the space of 5 years to give myself the ability to continue and carry on to this day, and I guess get to where I am. Definitely. Yeah.
And so, you know, again, we talked at the start about habits. You know, we all have habits that we feel make us who we are, and it gives us success in our life and in foundation. Like one little habit I have is my phone doesn't come on till after 9 or 9:30. So I'll get up normally at 5:30. I'll get up, I'll drink water, I'll go for a run, I'll make both our lunches. Then I might read, I'll have conversations with my kids, my wife. They go to school in, not lockdown situation, but when they go to school in, it's only when I leave the house that my phone goes on, because I feel that pulls my time away from the things that are important to me. So that's my time. Those first 4 hours in the day are my time. So if they're my time for me to be the strongest person I can for everyone around me who are important to me, I need it to be exactly how I'm going to become strong. You know, I eat well, I, you know, drink water, I exercise so I can be the strongest. So when that phone comes on,
You're ready.
I'm ready. Do you know what I mean? Is there any little things that you do that might help people?
Yeah. So one thing, I mean, I haven't got as strict a routine, and I'll be honest. Reason why is because my business doesn't require me to work 20 hours a day. In fact, my business is really 4 days a week business, to be honest with you, and it's a lot less hours. But I had to learn that, because again, a lot of stuff that I used to hear was, when you start a business, you're never gonna stop, and you're doing 20 hours a day, and you know, when I weren't doing 20 hours a day, I felt like, oh crap, I'm doing something wrong, you know. But I realized that's just not the case. Because I'm a busybody, I need to be doing something, which means that I need to keep myself occupied. And I'll tell you what my new routine example, you know, from waking up, getting ready, checking my emails. That's the first thing I'll do, just check my emails in time. Actually, in fact, when Nami's here, then we'll spend a bit of time together in the morning, have a coffee and stuff, and then check my emails. In between time, I'll go for a run now that I'm doing. I'll have my little workout routines at home that I'm doing. But then it's little simple things also, like just putting dishes away, you know, washing up after myself, and cleaning up around me, tidying up. It sounds really silly, but the little things that keep me occupied throughout the day, that get me through to whatever time I'm finishing, basically, but I feel like I'm finishing, are the things that I have to do. And it was quite strange actually moving in with the nanny, because she felt like she should be doing it. And I started saying to stop trying to, cook, clean, everything. Just relax. Let me do some stuff. I love cooking. Let me cook, or I'll wash up tonight. She's like, no. And I'm like, no, seriously, I want to wash up. Let me wash up tonight. And now we work, honestly, really, really well together, because she's understood that it's okay for me to cook, clean, wash up, whatever it may take. But I say that to her because I need to be doing these things to keep me occupied. These are the things that keep me sane, from washing my clothes, etc. These little chores keep me sane. And they're the things that, if anything, cover my day as well. Does that make sense? So I don't feel like I'm not applying myself enough, but at the same time, I'm doing enough and adding value around the house where I can be, to a nanny, to make her life easier, whatever. That makes me feel good. I'm adding value to something and someone around me.
I think the key word there is balance. I think you find that it's not just all about work, it's about being supported within the house as well as outside the house. So I get that 100%. Now, I could be in this conversation for hours, because we get on well, we talk well, and we both are a bit chatterboxes. So yeah, you know what I mean. So there's a couple more things I want to go through so that if people get real insight into you and your life and things that are important to you. So you've now reached the last day of your life. Okay. You've lived the last moments, should I say, before you start on your new journey, wherever that may take you. You've lived a long life. You've done everything you wanted to do. You're 150 years old and life has been good. But it's the last moment now. Everyone is around you, the ones that care about you, the ones that you'd like to be there. You don't have enough energy to speak, but you've been given a pen and a paper and you've been asked to write 3 words that resonate with you, that have helped you in your life, that you would like the people around you to practice a little bit more, that may help them in theirs. What would those 3 words be?
Discipline, I think for me, is big, very big. So yeah. Love, I'd say definitely for everything around you, whether it be family, friends, the half, kids, whatever it may be. Love. I know it's sort of 2 words, but have fun. Or enjoy. I think that's the principle I think I've come to learn as well. It's not going to be so serious all the time, and learn to enjoy life a little bit. It's not. I mean, a lot of my friends who first see me as a serious one. I think, he's a bit more serious. Can't have joke and laugh with him. But actually, as you get to know me, you think, no, he's okay. Just laugh and joke, and that's who I am. I love to have fun. Absolutely love to have fun. And I can take a joke and a laugh. That's fine. But I think it's important that a lot of people don't get so wound up in their daily lives. They get stuck into the rut of just work, bills, life. Just let it go a little bit. Breathe. Enjoy yourself, and it's fine.
It takes practice, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, it's practice. Yeah, just get yourself down the pub a few times.
All right. And now we're on to the last question, okay? So this podcast is called Bigger Than the Hustle, and right now you're bigger than the world. So I've sourced a microphone. That microphone is connected to 7.58 billion people in the world. Everyone understands you. Everyone understands what you're saying. Everyone can hear you. Everyone is awake. And you've got 30 seconds to pass them a message. What would your message be?
I'd probably say don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to move forward. Don't be afraid to do something that other people are not doing. Don't be afraid to try something that you feel that is right for you. I think know what you're passionate about. Or if you don't know, then learn what you're passionate about. Don't live your life in someone else's shoes or doing what someone else wants you to do, because that's not life. Life is what you want it to be. And make your own, if anything.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much, Sudip.
You're welcome.
Thank you for putting yourself on the line. I acknowledge you. I've known you for a while, and I acknowledge the way you turn up in the world. You live by what you say. You're willing to adapt. You're willing to put your head down when you need to put your head down, but lift it up when you need to lift it up. You spread your energy around. And you really turn up for at times it matters for the people around you and the ones that mean most to you, but then also you can work by yourself in the dark and then just get stuff done. And I acknowledge that. I see that from a distance, and again, for people your age, again, it inspires me as well to be the best version of myself. So thank you.
Thank you.
So this was the next episode of Welcome the Bigger Than the Hustle podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. What I'll do is I'll hook up Sudip's notes in the show notes. So if you do want to contact him about anything, you can do. Obviously, commercial property is what he's into, but he's obviously got a lot of insight in life as well. So I'm sure general chat would be okay as well. So like I said, stay strong, think big, because thinking big gives you a big life, gives you big love, and gives you big energy to share with everyone around you. So thank you. Till next time. See you.
And it's not always about money, you know. There's times where you can just give your time, give your knowledge, spread that little bit of happiness wherever you can. Just do your little bits.